Hi everyone, welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds, and another wonderful chat with visual artist Ray Anthony. Hi, Ray Anthony, how are you?
Pretty good, Jason. It's good to be back. See you again. Hope you're doing well.
I am. I'm doing well, visiting family, enjoying the summer, and certainly glad to talk with you about all the things that you're doing. I think we were both conning this past weekend. We were both at Comic Cons, but I think you were at a different show. I was at Heroes, and you were at another spot.
I was in Las Vegas. My wife Shayla and I were at Las Vegas Comic Con. This is like their comeback after, they did a small show, but they were basically kind of knocked out by COVID and regrouping. So now officially the amazing Las Vegas Comic Con by the J Brothers is back.
Cool, cool. The more cons, the better. The more cons, the better. The more attention on the books and comics and creating, I'm all for it.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, we got to get the word out. We were just mentioning reading more, and most of us know a better way to get people interested than to read comics. So I stand by that.
Yeah. Well, the last time we chatted, we were talking about kind of your wider career as well as that book that I see over your shoulder back there, Midnight Tiger. So I
Oh,
hope that project is going well and lots of readers are getting their eyes on that.
yeah. As a matter of fact, we're doing a Kickstarter in September, and with a few delays because with my new company, Studio Sky Tiger, we're doing everything.
Mhm.
We already produced a book called WTF Mama that had a successful Kickstarter. We're trying to get out of the door right now, and so yeah, we essentially have two projects. We have that. We have WTF Mama, which is we had a great time at Las Vegas. Every show, everyone's got a mom that is like or a mom or grandma and aunt that they just say what they want because what they're trying to do is give you their breath of knowledge,
Mhm.
and they know
Mhm.
that they say it in a way unapologetically. So, it's done in humor. So my wife created this entire world based off of the women in her family who are hilarious, and a lot of the stories are true or derivative of stories that have happened. So.
Yeah. But there's usually like a I care about you that's at the center of those things too. Like, hey, watch out for
Yes.
this, or make sure you do this. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. It's all done in love, but this is done in love and humor, sometimes a raunchy, unfiltered humor. So, yeah.
That's a great range. I love that you're doing stuff in kind of the superhero avenue, the humorous avenue, and we're also talking about Defiant, the story of Robert Smalls. This is a book, from what I understand, that's come from the mind of, well, history, but also Rob Edwards, uh, someone who's written across media, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, being one of those credits, The Princess and the Frog, and then you're also co-artisting with Nicholas Draper Ivy. Yeah,
So it's Nicholas Draper Ivy and Kanan White and Sean Damian Hill. It's a lot of three name guys, right?
yeah. Sean Damian Hill, great name in comics. Love his stuff.
Oh, same. I'm a big fan. I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of his, and we talk fairly regularly. Where I'm a huge supporter. So of really all the guys that work on there, they're just incredibly talented, and it's beyond talent, right? Because it's about skill. There's a lot of people we know that have talent, but don't do much with
Mhm.
it. They have cultivated it into a very impressive skill set. So yeah, and then there's Rob Edwards who has done everything.
Yeah.
He has definitely been. I rewatched the entirety of A Different World, and to see Rob's name pop up, it was
hmm
kind of surreal. Like, oh, that's right. We just worked together. I forgot he was doing that, and Princess and the Frog, and Brave New World, right? The new Captain America film. So he
Yeah.
worked on that as well.
Yeah, and I I really enjoyed that film too. Not to take us down a side path, but I used it in a comics unit in my class with high school juniors, and I had students be like, "I really love that. I love that film because it does a lot for storytelling and getting Sam Wilson some central attention."
Absolutely, absolutely. It definitely set things up, but in the same vein, it's all heroes, and that's what the story of Captain Robert Smalls is about. Heroes.
Yeah, let's go back 150 years to the story of Robert Smalls. Please tell us kind of the backstory of this book. What are we exploring in this volume?
So Robert Smalls is honestly, I mean, when we're talking to everyone involved with Legion M, and when I was approached, Rob approached me about this project. Actually, I think I was recommended, Nick was recommended through Dennis Cowan because I
Hmm.
think Dennis and Bob knew each other, or they know each other. And Dennis, of course, my mentor, and Nick's recommended us. So when Rob told me what the story was about, I was like, I haven't heard that name since I was in first grade. And that's the only time I ever heard the story of Robert Smalls. And it was my first grade teacher, Miss Cook, who's probably gone on to the next place. But and she might have been from South Carolina, where Captain Smalls is from, which is essentially the story of it is a different take on the story of a slave who, for the most part, was had supreme agency in his life and decided to commandeer a Confederate ship called the
Hmm.
Planter, and I believe 1839. And his crew was made up of slaves. And so after they took over the ship, or they stole the ship, essentially, um, Robert had to go through several checkpoints. Now, he was extremely intelligent. Just clearly an upper crust intelligence, because he had already mastered all of the naval signals and all that stuff. I mean, he knew as much as a captain. He just didn't have the title. I mean, he was a slave. So his whole thing was they had planned to go through these checkpoints, and he had to know everything that he needed to know. What he did was he dressed up in the uniform of the captain,
Hmm.
and it was at
Hmm.
night. So if any of the other Confederates saw the planter coming from a distance, they couldn't tell. So his crew basically had a plan. We're going to get through all the way to the Union, and if they catch us, we're going to burn this baby down. We're going to go down with the ship.
Yeah.
And he did it. He got all the way through. The crew, he basically sailed to the Union, said, "Here's his ship." And me and my crew, we're seceding.
Oh,
uh, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like we're you know. So he saved so many people, and that's just the beginning of his story. That's just the beginning of his
Yeah.
story. I mean, because he didn't wait around for people to come save him, and he didn't sit around and say, "Well, I'm a slave." I don't even
Hmm.
think Rob has said this before, but I don't even think uh, Robert Smalls thought of himself as a slave. He
Yeah.
was a person first, and then he was somebody who saw a problem, solved the problem using his charisma, his intelligence, and everything he had learned. And he was also a sponge. He picked up so many things along the way in his life that he utilized to help the growth and the prosperity of Black Americans. So yeah, that's it. It's a superhero story because he was
Absolutely.
a badass. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a lot to celebrate there. The heroism, the bravery, the agency, and this idea that you are not what other people might say you are. Other people will try to limit you and put these labels on you, but that idea of not seeing yourself as an enslaved person, as a person first, is so powerful.
exactly, and that's how he met everything. It, um, we had. his great grandson, Michael Buller Moore, who is actually running for his great great grandfather's seat in
Yeah.
South Carolina. So that's pretty awesome. Um, and so that was really great to meet him. It's just the entire crew, the Legion M crew, especially Rob and everybody else. It's just really, really awesome.
Yeah. As a quick side note, before we get to the next official question, I was at Heroes, as I mentioned, and Dennis Callan happened to be there. And I don't
Oh,
typically take selfies with a lot of people and things like that, but I was like, I gotta have my selfie with this man because just appreciate his work so much and the pioneering in comics that he's done.
he's a
I'm gonna,
stoic type. He
yeah,
is very
yeah,
stoic.
cool,
But trust me, if you can make the man laugh, you make him smile, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
cool. Good to know. Good to know. Um, well, back to Defiant and thinking about this story, what do you hope that readers are thinking about? What do you hope that they take action about as they're reading this and after they read it?
One of the biggest things is just for Robert's story to be told because it hasn't
Mhm.
been. It's we see so many slavery movies and it's about slavery, and at the end somehow they're free or whatever. That's where we start. That's just the beginning, of the story. This is about what happens after. This is about what you do when you um, say, "Hey, there's a problem here, and I'm going to fix it." And
Yeah,
and that when you think of slaves, it's someone who has no power, and everything in their life is dictated by a master. And in Captain Small's mind, there was no master. And everybody should be free. And I'm going to make sure that happens. So that's one of the things that we don't get to see. And I don't just mean for the Black community in the United States of America. I mean for everyone, because it is
yeah,
all about education. I mean, we know all types of stories. We know a story about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all that. And there have been movies made over and over again about these men. And that wasn't slavery, but it was definitely about racial equality and civil rights. But at the end of the day, this man, it's like an action movie that actually happened.
yeah,
So what I want is for people to be educated and have fun because the artwork itself is beautiful. It's written beautifully. It is action packed. It is given to you in a way that is easily enjoyable, but you're learning. Back in the day, I don't know, Jason, if you ever heard the edutainment. Have you ever heard that?
yes. Oh, yes,
Yes,
absolutely, yes.
yes. This is what this is. This is edutainment, and it is done at the highest level. Um, it's just amazingly done. And so, at the end of the day, when people get this in their hands and they read it, I want them to get excited. I want them to feel like the takeaway is you have power. Never let
Yeah,
anybody tell you that you have no power and feel small or less than or insignificant. Everybody comes in here with the same thing. It's how you use it, and but it starts with how you see yourself.
yeah, yeah. Well, and, you make a great point there that I was thinking about earlier. This kind of very fast way we talk about some parts of American history or history in general, and how some parts of the story get left in, some get left out, some get brushed over. And I just can't imagine teaching literature or history about America without including, some of these figures. I think that Black Americans are among the legends, many of them, of heroism from American history. I don't think you get the complete story without addressing that and talking about it.
Well, you don't. I mean, because when I had heard about Captain Smalls, I was a kid, and it wasn't even part of the curriculum. It was because my teacher uh, probably was told, about that story, and maybe she was from South Carolina. Maybe she heard it from someplace else, but she wanted us to know about
Um,
just what we could become. And I'd never heard it again until Rob approached me.
yeah. Yeah. Well, glad that it has resurfaced, that you're putting it out there in this way, and that the creative team is behind it and sharing the story. Anything that you'd like to say about the process of co-artistry with Nicholas?
So Nick and I worked. Well, I had two jobs, but Nick and I worked on the covers that are seen right now, that are out there. I did one, an homage to Shaft, Richard Roundtree's Shaft, which
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
a very action-packed cover. But Nick did the main cover. It's very iconic. I guess technically both are iconic because Shaft is iconic, but
Hmm.
um, but Nick is the one that is out in the forefront. Uh, I also contributed a great deal to pre-production, designs, layout stuff, a bunch of pre-production things that, just to set everything up. And then Legion M, they went on and got the full crew, and the direction they went in is very, very exciting and strong. So but yeah, that was that. I would have a meeting with Rob, I think once a week, and we would talk about the ideas and go back and forth on concept and layout and what the meaning of the story is, and how to translate that visually, and everything. And I would talk to Nick. Nick and I would talk back and forth about color, and design and stuff like that. So.
Anything that you kept in mind, sort of knowing the history of this, anything that informed your approach to it?
What I wanted to do in the very beginning was make it accessible.
Hmm.
When you know, Jason, you're no stranger to seeing either autobiographical graphic novels and comics or historical. And a lot of times they're so technical, they're almost boring.
Right. Hmm.
And some of these stories aren't boring. As a matter of fact, a lot of these stories aren't boring. It's all presentation. And so that's the thing I had in mind: accessibility, entertainment, and just seeing the idea of Captain Smalls as something with a huge budget. I mean, there
Hmm.
was a point where, my idea when Rob and I initially approached it, I wanted it because Rob comes from not just I mean he's a story guy, but he's also heavily steeped in animation too. And I wanted to come with that type of feel. And although it ended up going in a different direction, which I think is better for the book as a whole. But I that was my accessibility point. I wanted to use our strengths because I have some background in animation, storyboarding, stuff like that, and I'm a big fan. But yeah, because like Rob worked on Treasure Planet,
Hmm.
one of my favorite films. So like I said, we did that, but it seems like a lot of the energy that we had, maybe the current depiction is different, but the energy feels the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it was a rewarding collaboration all around.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Anything that we missed that you want to shout out about the book, the wider creative team, or anything like that before we mention where people can find it?
You know what? Right now, the book is the number one graphic novel on Amazon. So
That's
there's something to
fantastic.
that. There's
Yeah.
something to, and the crew at Legion M, which is essentially, they're funded through a community, and
Mhm.
they really came out in a major way when the Kickstarter launched. And so there's a big thanks to all the people who make up Legion M, every contributor. So big thank you to them.
Awesome. Awesome. And where might we go to find out more about your work, to follow up with Defiant, Midnight Tiger, uh, WTF Mama?
You can go on Instagram to R A Height Comics,
Hmm.
You can go to our main website, which is studioskytiger.com. Sky is spelled with an E, so Studio Sky SKYE Tiger.com. It's our Substack, slash newsletter slash main website. And I'm also on Blue Sky, RA Height. So everything you do, anything about me and my company, just go there. We're
Cool.
posting. I mean, we're also doing. There's a webcomic version of Midnight Tiger there, which is midnighttigercomic.com. We update every Tuesday, and it's 2 pages a
Nice.
week, and so yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, I greatly appreciate your work. I love the range of what you're doing, and this is certainly a space where you're always welcome to come and chat about comics and storytelling and animation and all
I
the
just want to
things.
make sure people make sure you pick up Defiant. Don't miss out. It's beautifully done, hardcover.
Mhm.
I definitely highly suggest that, and get it. I'm not sure about the print run, but I would say get it early, get it fast. If you are connected to libraries, anything in education, absolutely get the book.
Yeah, yeah. Great time to support libraries, great time to support education, and just circling back to what we were saying at the beginning, celebrate reading and read widely.
Absolutely.